Hi, Mrs. Ramirez here. We are working on Module 2, Lesson 5 today. And today we are all about creating division stories. So we're going to write some story problems, scenarios with the question. So, classwork opening exercise we've done already. Get to the page 2, example 1. So, 1/2 divided by 1/8. Decide on an interpretation. What they mean by that is it going to be partitive division or measurement division? They are looking today for us to really focus on measurement division. And if you remember measurement division, it asks the question, how many blank in blank? Okay, so just as a question starter, we've got how many this fraction in this fraction. So with 1/2 broken into groups of 1/8, I could say how many 1/8 in 1/2. So we're really focusing on measurement division this question today. Draw a model. Those tape diagrams work well. How many 1/8 in 1/2? I'm going to mark it so it's 2 halves. There's my giant 1 for my whole. And here's 1/2. However, we're also breaking it into eighths. So here's my half, and I'm going to color that in because I don't have the second half. And we're looking at how many 1/8. So if I'm looking at 1/8, I cut it in half. I cut it in half again, so there's fourths. And then each section needs to be cut into 2. And I should have 8 there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So 8/8 to equal my 1 or halves, and 8/8, those where my number 1 whole ends up. How many groups of 1/8 in 1/2? So it's just how we've broken it up already. It doesn't take 2/8 or anything. So it's very easily seen. How many 1/8 in 1/2? 1, 2, 3, and 4. So they're working the whole page on this. Find the answer. Well, we figured out the answer was this, but let's set it up a few different ways. Let's go 1/2 divided by 1/8. Let's use common denominators. So I know that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, because we've done that. 4/8 broken into groups of 1/8. And 8 divided by 8 is 1 whole. 4 divided by 1 is 4. And 4 over 1 gives me 4 wholes, which is what I see up here in my model as well. Now, if common denominator division, one of my favorite ways to divide fractions, I could also use the invert and multiply rule, copy dot flip, which is first and 1/2, first opposite from divide to multiply, second opposite is reciprocal, flip that fraction, 8 over 1. 1 times 8 is 8. 1 times 2 is 2. 8 over 2 reduced by a giant 1 of 2. And that is 4 over 1, and that equals 4, which we have seen in 3 different ways. Now, this is what could be a little confusing, is choose a unit. And here's why they're going to step 4, is because they want to use that unit in the situation. So remember, we're writing stories today. So what situation, what unit do they want you to use, or do you want to use in this situation? For this one, we're going to use cups. Okay, so for my example, so I've got a problem. Set up a situation based upon the model and ask the question to be answered. And the question to be answered is how many 1/8 in 1/2 or 1/2 broken into groups of 1/8. So my scenario is going to look like that. This. I am making blueberry pancakes. And I need 1/8 cups. There's my unit again. Blueberries in each batch. I only have 1/2 cup of blueberries. How many batches of pancakes can I make? From this, I'm going to come up with the 1/2 divided by 1/8, 1/2 broken into groups of 1/8. How many 1/8s are in 1/2? So this is setting up the stories for division problems. You're going to be working on the other exercises, and we'll have a student come up with example number 2. Happy learning!